Hi everyone. My name is Emma. I'm 20 years old, and today I want to share with you a story I'll never forget. It happened last year during Easter when I decided to take a spontaneous solo trip to Florence, Italy. What started as a cultural getaway turned into one of the most emotional, eye-opening experiences of my life. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and let me take you with me on this journey. It all started in March. I was going through a rough time emotionally, stressed from university, a recent breakup, and the usual pressure to have everything figured out. I remember sitting on my bed, scrolling through Instagram, seeing all these people traveling, smiling, discovering the world. And then it hit me. Why not go somewhere for Easter? Just me. No plans, no expectations, just go. I booked a flight to Florence. I'd never been to Italy, but something about the history, the art, the food, it felt like the perfect place to escape and maybe even find a little clarity. I landed in Florence the Wednesday before Easter Sunday. The air was fresh, the sky bright, and the colors of the city instantly lifted my mood. I checked into a small family-run guest house near the Arno River. The owner, Signora Carla, welcomed me with the warmest smile and offered me espresso and biscotti. It felt like I had stepped into a movie. That first evening, I couldn't resist heading out to explore. I wandered the city with wide eyes and a full heart. The streets were alive with the sounds of laughter, clinking glasses, and distant music. Locals and tourists alike were dining al fresco, the smell of fresh pizza and roasted garlic wafting through the air. I made my way to Piazza della Repubblica, where a street musician was playing a hauntingly beautiful melody on the violin. I sat on a nearby bench, letting the music wash over me. I remember thinking, this is exactly where I'm meant to be. Over the next few days, I woke up early and spent hours exploring. I visited the Duomo and climbed all the way to the top of Brunelleschi's dome, where the panoramic view of Florence literally took my breath away. I stood there, wind in my hair, soaking it all in. I visited the Uffizi Gallery and stared in awe at Botticelli's The Birth of Venus. I crossed the Ponte Vecchio at golden hour, watching the river sparkle beneath me. But it wasn't just about checking things off a tourist list. I let myself wander without a map, finding hidden bookstores, quiet courtyards, and tiny bakeries with the best cannoli I've ever tasted. I learned a few words in Italian, ciao, grazie, bellissimo, and used them with pride. Even getting lost became a joy. There was something magical about having no agenda, just following my curiosity. I also started to write again. I carried a small notebook with me and jotted down thoughts, sketches, conversations I overheard. Something about Florence made me feel more like myself than I had in a long time. On Good Friday, I signed up for a small cooking class recommended by the guest house. There were 6 of us, 3 couples, me. At first, I felt awkward and out of place, but the instructor, a cheerful woman named Lucia, made us feel like a big Italian family. We learned to make homemade pasta and tiramisu, and by the end of the evening, we were laughing, eating, and sharing stories. One of the couples, Sarah and David from London, invited me to join them for a wine tour the next day in the Chianti countryside. I said yes. That Saturday turned out to be one of the most beautiful days of the trip. Rolling hills, vineyards, tastings under olive trees, and deep conversations. For the first time in a while, I didn't feel alone. I felt connected. It reminded me that joy could be found in the most unexpected places, and that being open to new people can lead to genuine, heartfelt moments. Then came Easter Sunday. I woke up early and went to Piazza del Duomo to witness Scoppio del Carro, the explosion of the cart, a traditional Easter event where a decorated cart is filled with fireworks and lit in front of the cathedral. It was magical, crowds of people, joyful music, and this explosion of light and color, symbolizing peace and a good harvest. After the ceremony, I decided to take a walk toward Piazzale Michelangelo to watch the sunset. It's a bit of a climb, but I heard the view was breathtaking. As I reached the top, a man in his late 70s was sitting alone on a bench. He looked peaceful, almost like he was waiting for someone. Something told me to sit near him. After a few minutes, he smiled at me and said, "Beautiful, isn't it?" In English, with a thick Italian accent. I smiled back and nodded. We started talking. His name was Lorenzo, a retired art professor from Florence. He had come there every Easter since his wife passed away to watch the sunset, the same spot where they used to sit when they were young. What started as a casual conversation turned into an hour-long exchange. He told me stories of the city during the 60s, how he met his wife, how Easter was her favorite time of year. I told him about my trip, my doubts, my need to find something. Then he said something I'll never forget. Sometimes we don't need to find anything. We just need to feel. And if you're feeling something new right now, you're already on your way. I left that conversation in tears. Not because I was sad, but because I felt alive. It was one of those moments when a complete stranger says exactly what you needed to hear. The next morning, I went back to the Arno River and sat there for hours. No phone, no distractions, just the water, the breeze, and my thoughts. I reflected on the entire trip, on the kindness of strangers, on the beauty of slowing down, on the unexpected friendships and meaningful encounters. I took out my journal and wrote a letter to myself. It wasn't planned, but I wrote about the person I was when I arrived and the person I was becoming. I promised myself to keep exploring, not just new places, but also new parts of who I am. The next day, I wandered through the Boboli Gardens. The flowers were blooming, the sun was shining, and I just sat there, writing in my journal. I wrote about Lorenzo, about Florence, about myself. That trip changed me. I didn't come back with all the answers, but I came back with something much more important, a new sense of self, of appreciation, of connection. I learned that it's okay to feel lost sometimes, that the world is full of kind strangers, unexpected moments, and beauty that can heal you in ways you didn't know you needed. So that was my Easter in Florence. A journey that started as an escape and ended as a rediscovery. If you're thinking of traveling alone, even just once, do it. Trust me. It might be scary, but it might also become the most unforgettable experience of your life. And who knows, you might find your own version of Lorenzo, or even better, you might find yourself. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Lingoverse, and leave a comment below telling me about a trip that changed you. Happy Easter, wherever you are in the world.